the woman accidentally discovered that her husband, who came from a poor mountainous area, was actually an expert at cooking Western cuisine. This confused her greatly. Her husband was clearly just a rural pig farmer, and he couldn't even write his name properly. How could he possibly make such high-end dishes? Little did she know, her husband's identity was far from simple. She had always thought he was just a farmer, but in reality, just a few days ago, her grandfather gave a life-or-death order. She and her aunt had to compete to see who could have a child first. The one who did would inherit the family business. When this was said, the woman immediately showed signs of distress. After all, in over 20 years, there had never been a man by her side. She had finally gotten a boyfriend, but her aunt tricked her, and the boyfriend ended up becoming her uncle. In this situation, her aunt was confident and assertive, claiming she would definitely have a child before the woman. Now, the woman's most pressing task was to find a husband, but as soon as she stepped into the elevator, an old man started eyeing her. Seeing her sexy and slim figure, the old man reached out and slapped her on the butt. This instantly made the woman furious, and she bit her tongue to keep her composure. Before turning around and beating the old man up, the employees standing by the elevator were stunned. However, she calmly instructed her assistant to quickly help her touch up her makeup, and asked the assistant to check the elevator's surveillance footage to see if her slap was well angled. If it wasn't, she would reshoot it. This left the assistant completely dumbfounded. The old man, however, was terrified, not daring to make a sound. Back in her office, the woman asked her assistant to find her various male models, but after searching the entire city, none of the models seemed good enough. Then the assistant mentioned his cousin, who was handsome but came from a rural background. The woman didn't care about his wealth. She immediately told her assistant to bring him over. When she saw how handsome he was, she was taken aback. Before he could even say anything, she told him to take off his shirt. When she saw his strong, 8-pack abs, she immediately became infatuated, saying she was very satisfied with him. She then pulled out a prenuptial agreement and told him that if he got her pregnant, they could divorce, and she would give him a compensation of $30 million. Without a second thought, the man agreed. The next day, they got their marriage certificate. The woman casually handed him a black card, telling him to spend as he pleased. After that, she got into her car and left. However, just as she drove off, dozens of luxury cars arrived in front of the man. It turned out that the man was actually the richest person in the country. He controlled 90% of the nation's wealth. When he was young, he had fallen off a mountain. Fortunately, the woman saved him by taking him to the hospital. He survived. As he grew up, he wanted to marry the woman, but just as he was about to confess, another man beat him to it. However, the woman rejected him immediately, saying that if she were to marry, it had to be someone weaker than herself. The man, being the richest person, was too scared to confess his feelings. For years, he secretly helped the woman behind the scenes in order to win her over. He had his personal secretary infiltrate her side and pretend to be a farmer. Eventually, he married her. After they got their marriage certificate, he went home early to prepare dinner for her. When the woman returned home and saw him shirtless, she immediately became infatuated. She rushed up behind him and hugged him tightly.